and ingredients that are in our food that are illegal in other countries because they've been shown to be toxic. There's pesticides and herbicides, and there's a lot of shit that's been sprayed on our food that really is unnecessary. And there's a lot of health consequences that people are suffering from a lot of these things. And
I brought this chart for you.
Beautiful.
Because I had a feeling you'd be asking me.
Thank you.
Look at this chart. These are healthier countries. Look where the United States is. I'm going to send this to RFK Jr. Look
so
at that.
This is, well, something along the, I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
I could see it.
That's
crazy. A lot of it's obesity.
So here's the life expectancy versus health expenditure.
Same chart.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
USA.
Wow,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Jamie's the best.
He's very good.
He's the best.
But look at that. Look where
at
the USA is.
It's not good. And that's our food. That's our diet. That's sedentary lifestyle. That's our diet. That's the chemicals we ingest. That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great guy.
I love the fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am. But the only thing I want to be a little careful about with him is the environmental. Because, he doesn't like oil. I love oil and gas. I think,
just keep him out of that.
To fire. So I'm going to sort of keep him out of a little. I said, focus on health. Focus. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. But I got to be a little bit careful with the liquid gold,
I understand. But listen, there's plenty of good work that could be done if you focus on health.
Here's the one that my all-time favorite, though.
What is that?
See the arrow right here? That's one I left.
Do you have anyone that is pressuring you to not work with him? Have there been people that are reaching RFK Jr.?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine. Because financially, he could put a dent.
I would say that, and, I think in many ways they've done a good job. In many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the Big Pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that, I've actually always gotten along very well with him. I've known him a long time. He's a different kind of a guy. He's very smart, great guy. And he's very sincere about this. I mean, he really is, he thinks we spend a fortune on pesticides and all this stuff, and then you end up with that chart is a terrible chart, the one previous. It's such a bad chart when you look at where we are compared to other countries that don't spend 10 cents.
Right.
So, and you save a lot of money. But, yeah, I've had some people that aren't exactly thrilled. You can imagine, right?
Sure.
It's a good question, actually.
Well, certainly if
it doesn't affect me.
Some pharmaceutical drugs that have been prescribed that have negative consequences that these people have been profiting off of, and then you have a guy like RFK Jr. who spends an enormous amount of time highlighting those things. You could say how they'd be very reluctant to have you support him.
I would say that's an understatement, yes.
Yeah. So what do you do to stop that from getting in the way?
Yeah, well, look, they've come up with some amazing things. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I know you're against certain vaccines. But like the polio vaccine, people had polio. It was like a disaster. And they came up, Dr. Salk, and he came up with a vaccine, and there's no polio. Now, very interesting, there hasn't been polio, but now in the Gaza Strip, can you believe that? Have you heard that? There's been a big strain of polio coming out in the Gaza Strip.
Is it vaccine-derived polio? Because, there's a strain of polio that comes directly from the vaccine. Because, unfortunately, sometimes when you vaccinate people for polio, you actually give them polio.
I haven't heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all I can do is I sit down and I listen to him, and I'll give it a total. I would love him to be right. Because if he's right, it's a lot less expensive, generally speaking.
There's two things that people point to when they point to the dangers of the pharmaceutical drug industry. One thing is when pharmaceutical drugs were allowed to advertise on television. We're only one of 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical drugs to advertise on TV. Mm-hmm. The other one's New Zealand, but they're more restrictive than we are.